When the movie begins, Alma Madrigal, Maria Cecilia Botero, is in Colombia telling her granddaughter Mirabel, Noemi Josefina Flores, the origin tale of their family. The conquistadors forced Alma and Pedro, who were previously married and the parents of 3 children, to leave their house. Pedro died while defending his family, but the tragedy leads to the creation of a house, or casita, for Alma and her family, as well as the endowment of her children with magical abilities when they touch the doorknobs to their rooms on the day they turn legal adults. The enchantment also helps the rest of the village. Today is Mirabel's gift-giving ceremony, during which she will discover what her unique power will be. The young child tries to grab the doorknob. Now fast forward to the present, when Mirabel, now portrayed by Stephanie Beatriz, is assisting her family in getting ready for her young cousin Antonio's, Ravi Cabot Conyers, gift ceremony. Children from the neighborhood stop by the casita to inquire about Mirabel's family. Her mother Julieta, Angie Cepeda, who is married to Agustin, Wilmer Valderrama, has the ability to heal people with her cuisine, and she tells the narrative of her family, the family Madrigal, in detail. Isabella, Diane Guerrero, the perfect sister who can make flowers sprout wherever, and Luisa, Jessica Darrow, the super strengthy sister, are Mirabel's sisters. Tia Pipa, Carolina Gaitan, who is wed to Felix, Moro Castillo, has the ability to control the weather by expressing her feelings. Dolores, Odessa, who has superhuman hearing, Camilo, Renzi Feliz, who has shape-shifting abilities, and Antonio are their 3 children. In addition, Julieta and Pipa have a brother named Bruno, John Leguizamo, who has the ability to predict the future. Bruno is an outsider, though, and his family avoids bringing up the subject. Dolores informs the children that Mirabel never received a gift, despite Mirabel's efforts to avoid their questioning about it. Even if she puts on a show that it doesn't upset her, it does. Since Antonio loves animals, Mirabel presents him a stuffed tiger as a gift before the marriage. She doesn't get along with Isabella since the latter is arrogant about how everyone thinks she's perfect. Later, the family is gathered as Antonio approaches his door and touches the knob. A toucan places itself on Antonio's arm and the door illuminates, indicating that he has the ability to communicate with animals. When Mirabel didn't receive a gift on the day of her gift ceremony, the door simply vanished, leaving her heartbroken as she left alone, waiting on a miracle. Mirabel wants she could be as exceptional as the rest of her family. A tile from the ceiling falls unexpectedly, and the floor tiles start to break. Even though Alma assured Mirabel that the candle would never go out, it likewise seemed to be fading. Mirabel goes to inform the family, but when they return, everything is intact, leading them to believe Mirabel is making a big deal out of nothing. Mirabel tries the following day to find out from Dolores if she overheard anything unusual. Dolores attempts to avoid any ominous conversation, although she does admit to Mirabel that she heard Luisa's eye twitch. The family is gathered because Mariano Guzman, Maluma, a prospective bridegroom from the neighborhood, wants to court and wed Isabella. Alma, however, maintains her belief that Mirabel is only trying to attract Luisa's attention despite her repeated attempts. Following Luisa as she performs her town chores, Mirabel fixes whatever that needs fixing with her strength. Since she is so strong, Luisa appears as though everything is okay, surface pressure, but she later makes it plain that she constantly feels the urge to outdo everyone. She gives Mirabel a humbling hug and confesses that when Mirabel brought up the casita's flaws, she felt physically drained. She is instructed by Luisa to visit Bruno's tower at her house to learn more. Mirabel enters Bruno's abandoned room, where the casita's magic is powerless to assist her. She finds shards of one of Bruno's visions in a sort of cave after ascending a steep staircase and dangling to another ledge. When Mirabel puts the puzzle pieces together, she recognizes herself. Mirabel gathers all the shards and flees the room before she is stuck in the cave as it starts to fall and collapse. The rest of Antonio's belongings are being gathered by Pipa while Mirabel is in her room, but the strain of the situation has caused a rain cloud to grow over her head. Mirabel tries to inquire about Bruno, but Pippa and Felix, the rest of the family, and even the villagers are adamant that they won't talk about him. We don't talk about Bruno. Every time he had a vision, it would come to pass and cause bad things to happen to everyone. In example, he said to Pippa that it looked like rain on her wedding day, which caused her to start a fierce storm. When Mirabel puts the vision's fragments together, she finds herself in front of the casita, terribly injured. As soon as Augustin walks into her room, he notices the vision and tells Mirabel not to tell anyone what she saw. They were unfortunate because Dolores, who was nearby, heard everything. As Mariano and his parents arrive to prepare for the engagement, the madrigals assemble. Dolores spills the beans to her family while Mirabel struggles to remain composed, and they spread the news further. Alma once more accuses Mirabel of acting inappropriately, which causes the casita to further collapse and the family's supernatural abilities to malfunction. Luisa is unable to even move a piano into the room. Pippa starts a storm. Inside the house, Camillo can't manage his shape-shifting, and Isabella unintentionally creates a flower vine that accidentally hits Mariano in the face. Mirabel hears Isabella say she despises her. As she begins to carry the vision fragments to her room, Mirabel drops one. The shard is picked up by a rat and brought back to Bruno, who is hidden behind the casita's walls. The family thought he went into exile, but Mirabel pursues him and discovers his secret hiding place. Instead, he has been residing beneath the kitchen so that the rats may bring him food. Although Mirabel requests for his assistance, he declines because he is aware that his visions consistently result in sad individuals. She learns that Alma had been concerned about the magic on the day of Mirabel's gift-giving ceremony, and he expresses concern that this may be the reason why Mirabel did not receive a gift. Since the rats informed him of their location, Antonio finds them, and with his encouragement, Bruno decides to tell Mirabel about his new vision. Although they continue to see her in front of the damaged casita, something unexpected occurs when Mirabel notices a butterfly just before she appears in front of the candle and hugging someone who is revealed to be Isabella. Mirabel first objects to giving Isabella a hug, but she decides she must if doing so will save the casita. Isabella is still upset with Mirabel as Mirabel attempts to resolve things by giving her a hug in her room. Her anger increases as Mirabel calls Isabella selfish as she tries to drag Mirabel outside using vines. Isabella claims that she has always had to present a beautiful front for the family and that Mariano was the last person she wanted to become engaged to of Mirabel. Before berating Mirabel and accusing her of being the cause of the casita's breakdown and everyone's out-of-control powers, Alma enters the casita and notices Isabella coated in various colors. Mirabel responds that Alma's own unrealistic expectations of her family are what are pulling them down and that it is actually her own fault that everything is going wrong. Alma believes. The casita then begins to collapse and fall as the floor begins to break more violently. When Mirabel notices that the candle is melting, she hurries to save it. To keep Mirabel safe, the casita uses up all of its remaining energy before crumbling utterly. In addition to the Encanto disappearing from the rest of the community, the madrigals are distraught by the loss of their home. Running away, Mirabel sobs to herself by the river. She is approached by Alma, who informs her that Pedro was killed nearby. She says that she tried so hard for so long to preserve his enchantment and what made the family unique that she lost sight of what truly made her family who they are. She was heartbroken until the Encanto came to life. In a flashback, Pedro and Alma can be seen dating, getting married, and raising their children before having to leave their house. All things were created by the Encanto, which drove the deadly warriors away. After making peace with Alma, Mirabel then recognizes the butterfly from Bruno's vision. The two of them then embrace. When Bruno, who is arriving on a horse, spots them, his mother gives him a long overdue hug. The three start to reconstruct the casita when they get home, with assistance from the locals. Julieta and Pipa are overjoyed to see Bruno as he returns to the family. As a result of Dolores telling him everything she has learned about him, Mariano too ends up falling in love with her. Together, the madrigals sing all of you in honor of one another, while also thanking Mirabel for bringing them all back together. When she installs the custom doorknob they designed for her in the front door, the casita and all of its magic are returned.